So, let's talk about Harvey Weinstein. Wow. I mean, here's the thing. I know it's not funny. It's not. Matter is pretty serious. This guy is pretty much going to jail for a very long time. And granted that they couldn't get him on the convictions that they wanted to get him on. Man, I wanna kind of play a little bit of devil's advocate for a minute. But before I get into that, just to set the stage of Harvey Weinstein, he's a producer, and here's the thing, and I say allegedly, he's been doing this shit for years. This whole, sexually harassing, sexually assaulting, and raping, all sorts of stuff like that for years. I mean, hell, there's a tape that I was listening to yesterday by some model named Amber something. But here's the thing: when you think of sleazebag and fucking just a straight up scumbag, like that is the definition of a scumbag. And this is something that you guys sit there and listen to the audio, but pretty much there's one part in this video or this audio recording, because she was a wire. Like the police set her out with a wire, whatever, just to try to get some sort of confession out of him, which the dude pretty much told himself. So there's one part where he's sitting there asking her, come in the shower with me, or just be for a few minutes, and don't embarrass me. Like when you think of like fucking straight up privilege, this is the guy right there. And she's all like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And, here's the thing about Harvey Weinstein. And this just goes for just certain dudes in general. One sec. The way he pressures her is just... it's so much of a slime ball tactic, because the thing what he does is that he'll sit there and ask, but he'll do it in a very pressure sort of way, like in a very aggressive way. But he'll still sit there and ask you like, oh, you want to come in the shower with me? You want to do this? You want to do that? Just do it for a little bit, blah, 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 blah. So, it's kind of like a way of covering his ass. So in case like the cops come up and say something, he could sit there and be like, oh, well, I did ask her and she did say yes, and she did, jump in the shower with me. And it becomes a he says, she says sort of thing. This is the thing about a lot of these cases. It's always a he says, she says sort of thing. Because the thing is, it's very difficult to prove rape. Very difficult to prove that. And, cops have come up with some sort of way of doing it. But just, in general, it's difficult because, there's a fine line between rough sex and, rape. So, this is what Harvey Weinstein counts on. Granted, again, I'm going to sit there and play devil's advocate, because at the end of the day, I wasn't there. The only people that were there was Harvey and the people that was accusing them. So, it doesn't really leave a lot of room for evidence. Now, of course, they said that they have evidence against him. They have this, one of the reports or whatever that I was sitting there reading, I was watching the news about this woman that was talking. Oh, they have like mountains of evidence and stuff like that, and like every time I look, I don't really see a lot of evidence. What I see is a pattern. I see a pattern, and the whole saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now again, see, the way I work, and granted, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but the way I work is I always have to try to look at things from a logical point of view. So, when I look at any case or whatever, I look for tangible evidence, tangible proof, something that's like audio or video recording or something. Because with people, and granted, here's the thing, I'm not saying these women are lying, but I don't know that, because the only people, again, that knows what's in their hearts is them. So, people, just in general, people tend to lie. Everyone's not always fucking truthful, and that's guys and girls, they're not always 100% honest. So, whenever I hear, about testimony of this and testimony of that, and then the jury is, deciding, it's like you're deciding on an opinion. Well, not opinion, but you're deciding on words that somebody is saying. And I don't know, I always feel like that's just very, very dangerous, because even with Bill Cosby, going to jail and stuff like that, he went to jail because a testimony. He didn't go to jail because of actual physical evidence. And yeah, I know, my friend, me and my friend was talking about it maybe like a month or two ago, and he was saying that they found like a drug, GHB or whatever, like in their system and stuff like that. And so and I'm sitting there thinking, not even as a lawyer, but just somebody that's just like, well, how do I know that these women didn't just drink a little bit of it and then went to the cops after? Like, I don't know. That's the whole thing. No one knows. The only people that know is Bill Cosby and the people that's accusing them. So it's always this, it's very difficult to decide if, a lot of these times that these people are guilty of these things when there's no actual proof. And with cases like this, it comes down to this mob mentality. So even a video like this, and I'm sitting there saying, well, I don't know, there's always going to be that group of people that's like, what do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? You don't believe them? Oh, of course you don't, because you're a fucking man or something like that. And it's like, no, I just don't fucking know. I don't know one way or the other. But, with a mob mentality, is either you're either with us or you're against us. There's no in between. And that's just an issue for me, because, between like a mob mentality and the media and everything like that, and let's just dive into this a little bit. So he got convicted of these charges, and from a lawyer's point of view, and just my whole way of thinking about it, even when this trial was going to go to court, I kept sitting there thinking, a lot of people were just like, oh, well, if Harvey Weinstein don't go to jail for the same thing that Bill Cosby went to jail for, then that's fucked up and it's wrong and this, that, and the third. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, if you look at it that way, then you're pretty much fucked already. You might as well just skip the trial and just go straight to jail, because it's always it's already really it's always it's already this expectation of between the media and the courts and everything like that of, well, we should probably send them to jail. We should probably, convict them because we don't want to look like we're biased. It's now you got this Then you got this tainted, I don't want to sit there and say tainted atmosphere, but you have this tainted fucking court case of, well, the media and everything like that is pressuring you to go one way based on, what happened to the last guy. So if you don't vote, if you don't vote him to go to jail, then you're wrong. And, and granted, I'm not the only person that's thought of that, but, again, it's just, the case is already tainted. Now, again, I'm not saying that these women are lying. I'm not, because if it's true, it's fucked up, and the guy deserves to go to jail. He doesn't deserve the death penalty, because I feel like that's just an easy way out. He deserves to go to jail for the remainder of his life, period. So, I don't want, here's the thing, I don't want this video to come across like I'm being a sympathizer for Harvey Weinstein, because the guy is a fucking scumbag. When I heard that audio, I was like, wow, this shit makes my skin crawl, and I'm a fucking man. I can only imagine what this woman is going through. But I have to sit there, for me, I always have to sit there and look at all sides. I have to look at different angles. I can't just sit there and be like, yeah, send him to jail for rape and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know if he raped any of these women, but I can't sit there and say he didn't, because I wasn't there. And I think it was like Fox News or something like that, and this woman was sitting there talking about how much of a victory it was, and she was sitting there saying, well, the lawyers are using like these dirty tactics and like victim blaming. And here's the thing about victim blaming, or people always sit there and say, well, don't victim blame this, don't victim blame that. And I feel like that word just gets tossed the fuck around way too much. It's like when somebody sits there and says love, I love you and stuff like that. Like, that word just gets passed around way too much. Because as much as a dick I'm gonna probably sound like, there's a fine line between victim blaming and accountability. So, way back when, I don't really know that much about the movie industry and stuff like that, as far as like meetings and stuff like that. But, apparently it was very common to meet these producers in like hotels and stuff like that while they were like staying in town. And I'm just sitting there thinking in my head, like, really? Like, seriously? Like that was the norm? Like, not like at a public setting or whatever, at a public bar, or just like their hotel rooms? Like, what kind of... I mean, seriously, and granted, listen, I'm not sitting there saying like it's right, because it's not. And I know that, probably they used to do that because back then, there were certain guys out there that just had that privilege of, yeah, meet me in a hotel room, I don't have to cover my... You try to sit there and meet somebody at a hotel room now for a job interview. Let's see how well that shit goes. But, one sec. My point is, this shit just sounds ridiculous. And from what I understand from some of these stories, they used to sit there and meet this guy, Harvey Weinstein, at a hotel at like 12 a.m. or 11 p.m. and shit like that, sometimes by themselves. And I'm like, now, just to backtrack a little bit, Pamela Anderson was pretty much lambasted in the media. Like, she was just pretty much just, like, how dare you sit there and not support women and stuff like that, you're a woman or whatever. And basically what she was sitting there saying was like, listen, she was like, yo, listen, as a little girl, she, her mother taught her well to not meet people at hotels at 11 o'clock at night by themselves for a job interview or whatever it is. And she was pretty much like attacked by the fucking media. Hell, she was attacked by the Breakfast Club and specifically by Angela Yee. And I was sitting there thinking in my head, I was like, yo, you seriously need to shut the fuck up. Because this is what it's called, this is what it means about taking accountability for your actions. Here's the thing. In a perfect world, you should be able to do something like that. You should be able to dress how you want and go where you want no matter what time of day or night it is, and not feel like you're in danger or feel like you're going to get violated anyway. But the thing is, we don't live in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. So, you can't just, I don't want to sit there and say you can't just go out and be naive and just blah, 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 whatever, and just go out and dress how you want, but you have to be smart about it, And it's not to sit there and say, oh, well, this woman was dressed a certain way, so, whatever happens and it's her fault. No, it's not her fault, because at the end of the day, that person, that guy, made that choice to do some fucked up shit. So at the end of the day, it's still not her fault. But, you have to be smart about what you're doing, what time you're doing, your surroundings and things of that nature, because we don't live in a perfect world. And, when you have guys like Harvey Weinstein that's just feel that they're entitled to do whatever the hell they want. Hell, during the fucking, like the audio, I'm so used to video, but, during the audio, the woman was sitting there saying, well, you touched my breast or whatever, like, I didn't like that. It's like, oh, well, I'm sorry, that's just something I'm used to. we both, me and the girl, just like, that's something you're used to? Like, really? But that's what fucking entitlement is. That's what fucking privilege is, When you're in a position like that of power, and it's not to sit there and say, again, that's not to sit there and say all guys like that, but that's how dudes like Harvey Weinstein is. And it pisses me off. And not just guys like him, but just fucking scumbags in general that do really fucked up grimy shit to women and make other guys look bad. That is the shit that just pisses me off. Because I'm not saying to say I'm a perfect guy, but I think I'm pretty decent. And, a lot of times it's like you have to sit there and, I don't know, you feel like you have to prove yourself. Like you have to prove that you're different than the other guys, the other assholes out there in the world, because I'm trying to avoid the N-word. But dudes like to fuck it up for everyone else. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like I kind of went off tangent a little bit, but my point is, me and my friends sitting there talking. It's like you have to take, with this whole Me Too thing, so Time's Up thing and everything like that. It is very important that women get their justice for things things that happen, and it's like, even if they came out with their story like 5 years ago, whatever. Now, of course, everyone can sit there and argue that if this happened to you, why didn't you say this before? Why are you sitting there saying this now? And of course, there's always the opposing argument of are you doing this for money? Are you doing this for fame? You just came out out of nowhere. Even like with the whole Bill Cosby trial, because there are some people that are defending him, and of course they're getting shit on, but whatever. And the people are sitting there saying, like, you came out of nowhere, and you're jumping on this bandwagon, and you're sitting there saying, oh, well, Cosby did this to me, and Cosby did this to me, and it's like, and granted, it is always a fair argument, it is. Because for every people that tell the truth, there's always a person that's going to lie about it. There's always a person that's going to sit there and do something for personal or financial gain. Hell, Nelly, at one point, had somebody accuse him of, like, some sort of like sexual inappropriateness or something along those lines. And Nelly was like, all right, cool, we'll take this to court and I'll sue you. Next thing you know, the lawsuit just drops. So, for every person that tells the truth, there's always a person that lies. And I'm not saying that all these women that, Cosby allegedly did something to, or Harvey Weinstein allegedly did something to, is being a liar. But, at the end of the day, I always have to sit there and look at it and be like, I wasn't there. How do I know if this person's telling the truth? How do I know if this person, is telling the truth? Maybe they could be telling the truth. This guy could be this fucking sexual rapist and sexual predator. But, when you don't actually have tangible evidence, it's, it can go either way. So, I don't know. I didn't want to make this video this long, but I was looking into it for a while, and here's the thing. It is with Harvey Weinstein, but I feel like it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And, it's important for the laws to change for both sides, of course. A lot of times people always sit there and think that, women are the only people that get, sexually assaulted in the workplace, because it's not just women. It happens to men too. Just because they don't talk about it, just because it's not as much of a high ratio, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And same thing with guys getting raped by women. It does happen. So, in the workplace and stuff like that, it's just, the fact that the laws are getting changed, that's a good thing. Because, hell, at the end of the day, it just covers everyone's asses, You go there to do a job, you do your job, and you go home. And, you can have fun with a person and just talk and laugh and stuff like that, but you have to have boundaries for yourself and other people. When I'm talking to somebody, I want to make sure that they're comfortable. Because when they're not comfortable, I'm not comfortable, and the shit it's just an energy that I just don't like. So, I am glad that these laws are being changed as far as the workplace and, power dynamic and just people being brought to justice, as far as like if Harvey or whoever else is doing this fucked up shit. But at the same time, I always have to sit there and think, they convicted Cosby based off of testimony and no real evidence. And although Harvey Weinstein, let's be honest, is a piece of shit and a scumbag and every other name that you can sit there and think of in a book, from a lawyer's point of view, and it's just my guesstimate or whatever, you could sit there and look at it as a pattern. A pattern. Hell, it's not like, here's the thing, it's not like this guy doesn't deserve to go to jail. Because, hell, that fucking tape alone of him admitting that he, touched this woman in an inappropriate way deserves to send him to jail alone. When you have to sit there and talk about rape and stuff like that, and you don't actually have any tangible evidence, a lot of times there is a he said, she said sort of thing. And there are cases, I know, very amateurish, but I like to kind of keep my thoughts somewhat focused. Because there are cases where, women and guys or whatever, people will sit there and lie about being sexually assaulted. Hell, there's a woman, I think like 2018, a woman named by Nikki Ove, or Nikki something. I'll probably make an update video, but pretty much she accused 2 college students of rape and then changed the story. And the reason why she lied was because she didn't want to ruin a potential relationship with, another guy. And, these guys were just scrutinized and put through hell for something that they didn't even do. So, it's just one of those things where it's like, even if you want to sit there and believe all these women that are coming forward and stuff like that, and, granted, come forward, get your justice, you just always have to sit there and kind of look at stuff from different angles, and can't just go on a mob mentality, or go on a, oh, well, if you don't agree, then you're bad and you're scum and you're shit. You know, just because you may not fall in line with what other people are, you know, deciding. You know, so, you know, again, it's okay to sit there and be different. It's okay to sit there and have an opinion, even if it's an unpopular opinion, to have an opinion that's different. Anyway, I ranted enough. So, thank you for listening. If you even made it to 25 minutes of it, that's great. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I am gonna get better on closing out my videos, but thank you again, and I look forward to doing another discussion like this in the next video. Bye.